European Monetary Union and optimal currency area. First of all, it's quite important to define precisely what an optimal currency area is. An OCA could be defined as an area in which it is optimal for all the partners to share the same currency and to entrust the implementation of monetary policy to a single central bank. But what is optimality? How optimality could be defined? Optimality is related to the ability to stabilize, to absorb, to cushion the effect of a shock, an economic shock, a financial shock, a pandemic shock, a shock which could occur on the economy. The objective of the theory of optimal currency area is to define some condition to verify, to satisfy, to be sure that a currency union is really an optimal currency area. The seminal paper is a paper from Mundell in 1961, and Robert Mundell was Nobel Prize winner in economics in 1999, the year of the birth of the European Monetary Union. But what are these criteria? The objective of the theory of OCA is to define the list of these conditions to satisfy. Now let's move on this condition. So the objective is to define this condition. So the topic is the condition to have an optimal currency area. First of all, Musgrave in 1961 considers that it is quite important to distinguish depending on the nature of the economic shock. So Mundell, 1961, explained that when economic shocks are symmetrical, there is no problem. So when we face symmetrical shocks, the currency area is able to cushion, to stabilize the shock, because a symmetrical shock is a shock which is the same for all the partners. They face the same shock, which have similar effects. So the common central bank is able to cushion this kind of shock. What about the situation where shock could be asymmetrical? When shocks are asymmetrical, we should have to consider other factors compared to the common monetary policy, other factors which could play this role to stabilize this kind of shocks. For Musgrave in 1961, a key factor could be found behind the labor mobility and capital mobility. It means the mobility of production factors. So a first condition, a first criteria lies on production factors mobility. Behind production factors, we have labor and capital. But what happens if production factors mobility is not enough? McKinnon considers that we could focus on the degree of openness. So another economist, which is McKinnon, explained that the degree of openness of the area is quite important. It is related to commercial integration. This is the idea of McKinnon. McKinnon in 1963. But if production factor mobility is not enough and the degree of openness too, then we could find other factors, other conditions, especially two different kinds. First of all, we could focus on the degree of financial integration. Because if financial market is enough integrated, financial integration, this could enable to cushion the effects of this asymmetric shock. This is the idea of Ingram in 1962. And other key factors which could enable to stabilize this particular shock, asymmetric shock, could be found behind fiscal integration. Fiscal integration, it means being able to have a common budget which could be able to cushion the effect of asymmetrical shock on different partners. The idea of fiscal integration is Kennan idea. Kennan in 1969. So here we have the pictures of what are all the different factors which could enable to qualify the currency area as an optimal one. It means a currency area in which there is enough mechanism to cushion the effect of economic shock. Now, what about the European Monetary Union? Is European Monetary Union really an optimum currency area? Unfortunately, not really. Why? First of all, because shocks are not really symmetrical. It means the common central bank is not enough to take the case of shock cushioning, stabilizing economic shock. The degree of openness is quite high, but it's not enough. That's why we should focus on the other factors. Capital mobility seems quite high. It could be a really interesting tool for stabilizing asymmetrical shock. But it's not really the case for labor mobility because some kind of barriers continue to exist, languages, barriers, non-transferability of social rights. That's why labor mobility is not completely full in the European Monetary Union. Fiscal integration, as we know, as explained in another video, an EU budget exists, but this budget has no role in terms of stabilization. It means that till now, no automatic stabilization mechanism exists in European Monetary Union as an insurance scheme or other mechanism like that. So, European Monetary Union is not really an optimal currency area, but we could ask the question of the endogeneity of the optimality. Considering that optimality could be endogenous consists in considering that probably the optimality could be obtained ex post. It means after creating the monetary union, after introducing new mechanism which will enable to stabilize this kind of asymmetrical shock. This is a question for the future. Thanks for your attention.